works, preparing. Yay. Okay, that was super fast. All right. Hello, friends. So sorry we're joining several. I was gonna say, sorry, we're just a couple minutes late. Psych, we're 7 minutes late. That's my fault. I wanted to give our guest a little rundown. I'm making sure I'm live. Oh, yay, I am. Wanted to give our guest a little rundown on what we've been doing leading into Welcome Home as a team, as a group, working together. Like, if anyone gets it, I'll introduce her in a second. But Rachel, good friend of mine, if anyone gets it, like how summer can be and fluctuations in business, it's someone like her. I've learned so much from her because she has many, many years of experience more in this industry than myself. And she has made more money in this industry than I have. And she's just built huge monster teams, really was the literal go-to person to curate and put together and literally create herself systems in her last company, because they didn't provide any, that would legitimately be known as like the system for the whole company. Literally came from her brain. Really crazy. And so I could go on and on, obviously credential wise, but coming with so much experience and so much trust that she had built, credibility and trust that she had built over years in this industry. She came into Q and broke every record. Basically, she is known, you guys might know her as the fastest person to hit the rank of a ruby in our company. It was within, how many days exactly was it?
Oh, just 45.
45 little days. Literally 45 days, you guys, to the rank of ruby. Myself having hit the rank of ruby, and it being a 2-year journey of so much growth or whatever, I cannot imagine how crazy and fast and how much adrenaline was going on for them for the first 45 days. But as much as I think sometimes, and I'm sure you can relate to this, Rach, like somebody is this big, fast news story in Q. Sometimes we want to be like, okay, tell us exactly what you did, because somehow you want to like duplicate those. And what I love about your story and just you as a person, obviously you come to the plate with just a lot of like humility, and she's like so coachable. She was like, when I first met, asking me questions and picking my brain. And I'm like, you have a million years on me, so let's reverse it and you tell me what to do. I don't know. But she just came to the plate with so like, I want to do it the QA and learn and really know what's worked for you guys, because I came here for a reason. And she remembers where she came from, why she left, and why she chose Q, which is not always the case. Sometimes leaders come here having made so much money and have so much experience that they might kind of want to try the QA for a bit, but ego is a really tricky thing in this business. And she really just doesn't have any. She's so coachable, really humble, wants to learn things. But I know we can learn a lot from her too. So she is doing us this huge favor. She does not benefit at all from anyone on this page financially. And she's popping on here to be our first ever guest on these little Tuesday Tip Lives. And I really asked her to kind of think back on maybe when she had been in the industry, specifically for this first question I'm going to ask you. Thank you for being on, by the way.
You're welcome.
Love ya. I could go on and on about her. I'm like, let's just spend 10 minutes while I tell you guys. Plus, her kids are so cute. I got them ice cream in the Dominican. I was like the cool aunt. I like messaged her low key so she could work out. I'm like, can I give your kids ice cream so they like me? Because I asked them, I'm like, you guys want ice cream? They were like, no, we barely have any sugar. Like, like they really were hamming it up. I'm like, okay, well, so I'm a horrible mom. Your mom's amazing because she's awesome. She's literally working out. Why? And so I text her. I'm like, can I give them ice cream though, so that I can be like the cool aunt? Is there an allergy situation? She was like, have at it. So now I'm always remembered. But anyway, I love it. So I love the connections that we make within Q. But for the first question I'm going to ask you that I would love for you to, and to be fair, you guys, literally, I texted her a couple things that I was thinking of talking to her about right before this. And then she didn't tell me anything that she was going to say. And that's how much I literally trust her 100%. I want you guys to get pen and paper. I've got my phone. I'm going to take some notes as well. But for my first question is I want to talk a little bit about social media, because you and I both came from companies prior to Q that built solely on social media.
Right.
We came to Q and really like almost pendulum swung in a bit, me more so than you, because I was like, well, I'm not going to use social media at all then. I'm going to only build this way. And it was Zooms and belly to belly and all of this. And what I love about Q is that the Q, if you're new and you don't know, stands for quintessential, which means the best of the best. And I think in order for us to continue that standard, we have the right owners, the right comp plan, the right products, all of those things to be the best of the best. But systematically, I think we have to be the like perfect hybrid, you know, where we do get belly to belly. We do walk our new people through a simple system where they don't have to be the expert. They don't have to know everything. They can get their people in front of us. We can close them like it's this beautiful thing for new people that they're like, how did I make money? This is so cool, you know? And also we can leverage and utilize the incredible resources at our fingertips with social media, AI, even like thinking of where things are headed technologically. There is a way to integrate both. And so my question for you first is thinking a couple years into your career, and maybe it's stuff you do still in Q, maybe not, maybe you've refined, but someone who's not new necessarily. Maybe now we're out of our warm market. We got through it maybe in our first meeting. We got through it in our first maybe 60 days. Depending, no matter what, we all run out of those like constant relationships and contacts we have. What are some things you do to cast that wider net and to find people like you've always been a very high enroller and recruiter before Q and also then in Q? And to be fair, even still consistently in Q after the big wave of a lot of people following you because of credibility, that's a gift. Not everyone has that. Right. You're bringing in consistent people that are not big leaders in the industry. It's anyone and everyone, people who never worked with you in your previous company, even who don't have experience and they want to work it. So what are the things, give us like top things you do daily that you would not want to forget to cast that wider net, get people maybe even coming to you, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so good. Gosh, I just love when you talk, Kristen. You're so good. Like, hey, keep talking about me, and just about anything.
I was just thinking, well, we're 14 minutes in and I haven't shut up. So can I let my guests speak for the love? Jamie Ski's dad's probably in the comments like, I thought this was Rachel's talk.
JK, Kristen's pouring into me tonight. You guys all just get to watch.
Just kidding. I just wanted Rachel to draw you in so you could listen to me and I could tell you what to do.
Which is actually very smart. But that's a good question. This is so good. And you guys, I feel like sometimes I get in my head about social media and maybe there's at least one person that's like, same girl, same. Because some of the things I say, you're probably gonna be like, that's like not even anything new, but maybe I'll be like the right voice at the right time and it'll shift something. Because for me, when I joined in 2014, like so Q is my second and my last build. So the first company that I joined in 2014, like I was a hater. Like I was the one that was like, I'm not a salesperson. I don't have a good social media presence. I had nothing else but Facebook. So if you're on here and you're like, dang, my Facebook sucks and I don't know Instagram and TikTok's confusing. I started off with only Facebook for the first solid year. And I knew right away because I came in so like ignorance on fire and I was like so scared and insecure. I did not want to talk to people in person. So I knew in my head, experience or not, that like I'd have to maximize a platform in some way, shape or form. And so I went balls to the wall talking to any and everyone on my Facebook, but I had only 200 Facebook friends. So you guys, something you can kind of like think about right away is, and I made it a game. I literally wrote down, like I had 200 Facebook friends and I'm like, how do I expand this quickly? I knew that like, if I was as excited as I was, and you guys are, if you're not excited right now, well, that's probably like a conversation we'll have offline. But right now we have that hype of like, everyone keeps talking about convention, whether it's your first or your second, we know something big is coming. So we have this excitement. You should and will be in many conversations. And then you do get to a point where you're like, crap, I feel like I've maxed out my network. So I knew that I would only be as big as those 200 people and I would have to expand. So in the beginning, I was adding any and everyone. And then I finally was like, man, this feels kind of like not authentic. I'm going to so-and-so's friends and adding their friends and all of the things. And so I was like, knowing that there had to be this genuine relationship building in it, right? And that's a piece that so many people are missing because we get so money hungry and we see those quick wins and we start forgetting that people are people and we look at them as numbers. And that's an issue we have. And so I started finding groups that I was interested in, like boy mom groups, local groups to wherever I lived at the time. I lived in Illinois, all of these random groups. And I intentionally spent so much time in these groups looking for people, like looking at their posts, looking at their Facebooks. Like it's an actual job, you guys. And that's something even with Q, like I've gotten so caught up in mentoring that I forget that like I need to keep expanding my Facebook too. And it's funny, Kristen's talking about this because like a month ago, I was just talking to her and I was just venting about like, I feel sometimes we see big stories like my own, and then we want that. I'm so grateful. I've made a lot of money with Q in such a short amount of time, but coming in really fast also has a lot of flaws as well. So don't feel bad about yourself or feel any type of way. I told Kristen like a month ago, I just want the next average Joe like me. Like I want 2014 Rachel, the insecure, broken. I need so much money that I will do anything you want. So maybe that could help you guys with social media, is like not looking necessarily for that next big leader, because that's going to come whenever that time happens where they're placed in your path, but looking for just the average normal mom wanting more. And I know that sounds so cliche, we say it on Zooms, but like when I really shifted that, my intentions with my social media changed. So like, again, the expanding, not just adding anyone and their brother, but like actually looking into it, but then also making it a part of my day-to-day to actually interact with them, asking those questions. And that's something, again, I struggle with Q sometimes with my people that are already on my team. It's like slowing down and asking those questions too, right? Like someone, for example, I asked her to be on our QIQ last week, and she's like, I can't, I have a really important surgery for my 5-year-old in the morning. I literally typed out, okay, no worries, and then moved on. 10 minutes later, I'm like, why the heck did I not ask her what that surgery's for? She has a surgery for her 5-year-old, and here I am trying to fill my QIQ, right? Like I'm still humbled to be like, damn, people are people, relationships matter. So I found a lot of people in groups, expanding through word of mouth of like people posting and interacting and all of the things. And then the more consistent I was with sharing my story on social media, you guys, that was something, if I could encourage you guys anything right out the gate, right after this, something that's so applicable is just dropping your guard and not being insecure and embarrassed about what your life looks like. For me, and some of you might laugh at this, but for me, like I was mortified at the fact that I was on food stamps. Like that was my rock bottom. And I know some of you have it harder than that. But for me, it was a dark cloud, and I didn't tell anyone for my first 3 months of social media or my network marketing, because didn't want to be judged, all of the things. When I started not caring about that and I had money coming in and I realized like I really am meant to make a difference on this platform, I started talking about any and everything. I was talking about the fact that, hey, for the past 3 months, as I've been building my empire, you didn't realize that I'm trying to get off of food stamps. And I remember the first post I made, I just had tears on my cheeks of like, who's gonna unfriend me and think that I'm a loser? But what had happened was people looked at me like, holy crap, I can relate to that. And so just knowing where you guys are at in your life and not comparing it, like please, when you look left and right at Kristen, at other leaders, at your sidelines, don't look at them and get defeated, look at them and be inspired. And I tell people this all the time, because I'll get on a one-on-one and I'll look at their network and I'm like, you literally haven't posted about Q in a week and you look like you're not even on Facebook at all. What's the deal? And she's like people say it all the time. Usually their issue is, I work from 9 to 5. Like, I don't have anything to talk about. Like, no one likes that. And like, blah, blah, blah. And I just feel like it's an issue we have. So I always tell my people, and I'll tell you guys, like, wherever you're at, that is inspiring to someone. So like, for example, if Kristen had a 9 to 5 and I'm here, stay-at-home mom, and I have all the time in the world is what it looks like. I could not be inspiring people like Kristen who have a 9 to 5, right? Like if Kristen's on my team and she has a 9 to 5, I would love for her to be open and honest about that, because what about the other people on her feed with 9 to 5s that think they can't do it because I don't have one, so they're not inspired by me in that way. And so just kind of remembering that your story is so precious to you and it's enough for everybody and anyone that's in your path. You have got to be expanding your network intentionally and sharing about your life every day. And I know Jake laughs about like, you guys don't need to post about stuff every second of the day. And I agree with that. But I also very much believe that social media is still very powerful. It's a little janky in the algorithm and stuff that's going on right now, but it's still very powerful. So when I get in my head of like, dang, I'm still looking the same as I did 2 days ago and looking boring, I just remember like, it's a vlog. People are following me because for whatever reason, I inspired them at some way, shape, or form at some point in their lives. And so they want to see, we're nosy creatures. They want to see what you're doing. They want to see like, every single day, I'm so ready for school to start again. I loved the routine. I didn't realize how much I craved that routine, but I would literally make coffee in my pajamas, drive to the kids' school in my pajamas with my coffee, take a picture of them, drop them off. Like that was my go-to, and people followed me for that. And then throughout the day, what else are you doing? I'm going to the gym. I used to look at my life as these things that bettered my life before Q, as like it was hindering it, right? Like I wouldn't go to the gym because I'm a hustler and it's taking time away. And I need to show people that my life is just super, super dandy and I'm not really working, even though I'm on my phone 16 hours a day. Like Q really has changed me and saved me to remember that what you put out there is what you will attract, you guys. And you want people to see exactly what your day-to-day looks like. So now it's like when I'm clocking in, I'm not hiding that. I literally will prop a phone up, I'll record for 20 minutes, fast forward it and say, I'm clocking in for 2 hours. That's what my life looks like. Now I'm going to hang out with my kids. And then guess what? I'm clocking in for 4 hours tonight because I do have a lot of goals, right? So anyways, expanding your network every single day is something I've never changed, intentionally doing that. And then posting through your network and just dropping the guard and sharing everything and anything, you guys. Now I'm not posting like my dirty laundry when Zach and I are in our bad, rough patches, but like I do deal with depression sometimes. I've never ever gotten that diagnosed, but like I have random days throughout the month where I'm like, man, I don't want to do anything. And I talk about that in my story. I'm like, I'm not perfect. I'm still overweight, trying to work on that. I'm having a bad day, like all of the things. But guess what? I love my life and I love all of these things at my fingertips. And I think that's why so many people on my team are some of my best friends now, because it's like I attracted people just like me that wanted a way. So hopefully that helps you guys. But I think first things first is just dropping your guard and being super present and loud and excited about what you're a part of every single day.
I love that. Okay. So I took a ton of notes. One of the things that you said, I use another word for it that I think will click with people. One of the things that she talked about is, you know, how she came up, especially when kids are in school and it's easier. You start to come up with these kind of little routines and schedules and like specific things you start to post every day. You guys have heard me refer to those as patterns. I'm like, create some sort of consistent pattern that people start to recognize. And what's funny is as soon as you said that you would take your kids, have your coffee, be in your pajamas, take a picture of them, leave. I bet you $1 million, and you can tell me, but that if you didn't do that one day, that you would get a message or something that like, are they sick or did they not go to school today? Would they? Because how it became with me, it became a thing of like one time I got so consistent, and I'm actually not consistent about this at all. And so you know how it's easiest sometimes to preach the things that you're constantly getting onto yourself about. And so just know, team, I'm by no means perfect on this. And I recognize I am a hypocrite a bit sometimes when I talk about patterns, because I would love to get better at that myself. But it's funny because at one point I was like, I'm going to post that I drink this for every day. That's my only thing I'm just going to commit to pattern wise. So I just start to get in the routine of doing what I tell my team to do. And so I literally batched like 15 photos of the sport in different settings in my house. And I just put them in a photo album. And every morning I had an alarm that went off that was like sport story, sport story, sport story. So I literally, and actually put a lot of the photos I took in our 300 club groups. You guys can go and find, I talk about these patterns. But I kid you not, after the pictures ran out, I did not recycle them or take more photos. And I dropped off consistency with that. And I had a girl message me and ask if I was gearing up to switch companies. And I was like, wait, what? Like, she thought I was like, yeah, you always drink your drink and then you haven't been talking about it. So, something must be happening. And it literally, same thing, reminded me like, oh my gosh, people. Hi, Didi. Hi, Mama. Sorry, my son just snuck in. And then the other thing I was going to tell you guys, because it's funny, people have been begging me to do a training on this, and but you brought up the Facebook group component. And I want to tell you, like, when I first joined Plexus, my first ever network marketing experience, I was like you, like I tell it all the time, I'd make a post, I'd get like 2 likes. It was always my kind of awkward Aunt Susan and then my dad, you know, and I'm like, and I ended up having to block Aunt Susan. She got real weird on my post. Anyway, we're moving on. But my point in saying that is that was truly my influence at that time. Yeah. So I really got obsessed with Facebook groups specifically. And I know there's reels and there's so many things here, but what I would look for, a couple things you guys can jot down, is I would look for a group. And when you type in just a group, and don't assume you have to be even a mom. You can. There's single mother groups. There's specific groups but also look in your area. Also look for networking. You could do a wine loving group. You could do a puppy mom group. You could do a book, like a romance novel, love, like find something you're kind of into. And then when you search that in the search bar of Facebook, a few groups will pop up. You can search by groups, but specifically I tried to find groups that had under 1,000 people in them. And I would find when you pull it up, it sometimes will show you that like 3 to 5 posts go up in this group per day. So it would show me that it was under 1,000 people and a pretty active group. So what I would do is I would go in, and exactly like Rachel said, I would go in solely for the purpose to just connect people into my network, not to try to sell a product or like post about a product or anything.
Right.
So what I would do is I would like pick out exactly like what I call it now, you guys, I call it my hot 20, right? It's like cold market people that I want to focus on specifically for a week. So I would sift through the group and I'd be like, who's funny? Who's making comments that I would totally agree with? And I kind of would just reply and engage with them. And then I would find the ones that I kind of liked, I'd friend request here and there and that sort of thing if I wanted to, but I'd have that list to kind of engage and whatever. And then you can, even when you first join a group, if the rules allow, you can make a post into the group just introducing yourself. So every time I would join a group, I would post a picture of me and my family and be like, I'm so excited I found this group. I need more people locally, or I need some other people that are obsessed with, lip smacker chapstick like I am. Like, I swear to you, there are groups for everything. And so here's a little bit about me. I'm from Texas. I'm a boy mom. I love mac and cheese, but I also want a fitness journey. Like, I would literally just, and nothing about work, nothing about, I work from home, nothing about nothing. It was just me, my family, what I love, hobbies. That's it. And people would comment and I would reply back to their comments. And then the only other little thing I would do is if they had a day where you could post about business, you know how some of those groups are like on Wednesday as businessy posts, I would do the opposite of what everybody else did. Everyone and their mom would come through and start blasting their network marketing company. And what I would do is one of two things. I would either make a post that said exactly that. I don't want to do what the majority of people do, because I don't want to overwhelm you guys. There's a lot of companies out there. There's a lot of great products. With everything going on in our economy, I don't know that we all are in a position to add a bunch of extra bills to our plate anyway. I just want you guys to know that I have found a company I align with, that I feel like I can be authentic and I don't feel like I have to spam my friends, and it's really systematic and has made it very simple for us to do. So if you are looking for something that's maybe not like what you've seen, reach out. So I would kind of just put a little like, you guys can come to me. I'm not even going to tell you what products or anything I have. I just appreciated this about my company. Or I would give something away. And I swear to you guys, my first year in Plexus, I recruited solely from one group that had thousands of people in it, because every Wednesday was giveaway day. And in there, it was Business Wednesday in the group. But me and my husband, he knew I was busy all day Wednesday and all day Thursday, because I would never be able to keep up with the messages, because my post was always the most popular, because I didn't try to sell anything and I gave it away. I literally would give away a full, here's my results with this one product. I will give away a full month supply. Comment your favorite Christmas movie below to enter. And I would literally give someone a full month supply once a week. So I bought like 4 bags of our thing that we had, and I would message every single person on there. And if the rules allow, I would like their stuff. I would reply, and all I would do is I'd send a video of myself. This is funny because some of y'all might have gotten one of these videos, right? I send a video of myself saying, hey lady, like, I just wanted to shoot you a message. I finally got through all the people. There were literally like 250 comments on that post. I finally got through all the people, and I'm messaging you because I pulled a winner. It was this girl, Savannah. I already mailed her the full month supply, but I just didn't want you to think that I like didn't put your name in the hat and that it was, rigged or anything. Ha ha ha. I would love to share more about the product if you want, but not trying at all to solicit you. I just wanted you to know that I have picked a winner, and unfortunately it wasn't you this time, but definitely check back next week. And sure enough, man, they'd be like, I want to know more, or tell me this, or tell me that. And if I were in queue, I would have funneled them all into a QIQ. So I've been meaning, everyone keeps asking me to go live and train on that little bit. So this worked out perfectly. So now we're going to have a really good kind of expanding network and Facebook groups training on the page. So I don't want to keep Rachel too much more time. I want to ask her one more question for you guys to hear from her on. I would love for you to speak to the new people specifically. And something that we can all refer back to and tell our new people, hey, go watch this video starting at this minute. And I want you guys to listen to, what would you say, Rach, for the newest person joining Q, what they in with social media, like what should be their, like, okay, the top 5 things I need to be doing first, like maybe within their first couple of days, their first week, their first couple of weeks. Because if I'm joining today, I might not be like, let me go find 10 Facebook groups yet, maybe, right? But what would you say for the newest person? They should be doing, like, check it off their list this week for social media.
Okay. So in no particular order, I would say the first thing, and this is funny because I was thinking about this, and like, I've kind of changed my launches a little bit. Like I used to have this really, it might've been Brittany Hitch's, I don't know, or maybe something yours, someone's launch presentation. And I go through a bunch of slides, but lately it's on my heart to just not show any slides and just talk one-on-one and stuff. And I've been telling my new people right out the gate is like, I need you to communicate with me immediately. So if you're Kristen's newbies and you're like, I'm a newbie, I just signed a newbie, tagging them in, what would they do? I would say, make sure you are honest with the person you enrolled with right out the gate. Like I'm saying, I want to know how much time you truly have now that you're in, like, let's really like, because I know sometimes people talk a big game before they're in. They're like, I'll do it all day long and all the things. You're in now. So tell me now, I want to know what your day-to-day looks like and how much money you realistically need. I honestly say by the end of their time clock, because like, I know it's great to be like, by the end of the year and look at these big paychecks and all the things, like long-term vision, I think is great. But I just feel like we're in such a desperate state of like, people are so hungry for money right away that I'm like, let's talk short term. So I'm like, how much money do you actually need? Like and then I try to encourage them, like, let's talk about your bills and all of the things, like not everybody's struggling the same amount. And then they actually stop and think, and they're looking at the comp plan and they're like, I actually really do need 450 by the end of next month. And this is what my day-to-day looks like. What's been happening when I've opened the door for that, saying, lay it all out for me and be truly honest with me. They're telling me, I'm a waitress and I only have this time in the morning, but guess what? I really need this. So I will wake up at 6 and I'll work from 6 to 9 before my waitress. Like they're laying it out to where I'm like, okay, now I have the ability to meet you where you're at. Because what was happening so much, especially in the beginning of our transition, because I was giddy and hungry, is I was expecting everybody wanted to make a lot of money and they do, but not everybody's life looks the same, right? So, oh, pumpkin. And so I just say, like, how much time do you genuinely have? And then I meet them where they're at, because what you're going to find is every single person's different. And I cling to the people who are like, I will do anything and everything because it's a dire need, a little differently than someone's like, listen, I really need 250 by the end of next month. And I have this. Okay, well, I'm going to dial back a little bit and I'm going to treat you differently, respectfully, because they're not really necessarily needing it as much as that other person, right? So whether you have a newbie or you are the newbie listening, be honest with your person and say that, because as a leader, you treat them where you're there for them as much as they want you to be, right? And you just don't want to overdo it. So there's that, be communicative. But then also just knowing, you guys, that you already did the hard part. It blows my mind when people literally wait months on end, they sign up and then they're still too scared to join. I'm like, you already did the hard part. Now it's time to actually dive on in. So making sure your launch is done in the first 24 hours. And then honestly, I've been switching it up and doing kind of like an anticipation post right when they sign up. And I try not to give people the copy and paste post anymore, because what I realize is it almost hinders them. And then they feel like every post has to be like that. So sometimes it takes a lot more of my time, because not everybody's creative and can't think fully about the post they need to make and stuff. So I just say, like, right away you signed up, let's make an anticipation post, look something along the lines of like, guys, I've been up to something. I'm so freaking giddy to share it. I can't wait to tell you more. And it's like so short. And then they post a picture with their family, and then they're getting all of these likes and comments. And then we're kind of working behind the scenes for the 24 hours before their ribbon cutting. And it's kind of like it does the hard work for you, because people are already excited. And then that next day, this is the hard part, is I encourage them to tell as much of their story as they can, tied into, this is why I'm joining Q. Again, it takes more time for me because I have to actually walk and mentor them through that. And I always say, send it to me first. And then I give them the feedback, because they want that. No one wants to sound or feel goofy. And then I just help them the way that I can. And then we dive in head first. So it's kind of that anticipation post immediately, 24 hours later, your actual introductory, which isn't so much about Q as it is to like what you want out of your life, and Q is going to do that for you. And then I would dive all in with your freaking list, whatever you want to call it, your hot 20, your chicken noodle soup, whatever it is, and just make that commitment to yourself that I'm not gonna care. Is it the chicken noodle soup? That's what we called it with our coach.
I know that's just such an like network marketing thing. Like, yes, chicken freaking noodle soup. Anyway, continue.
And it's funny because if you think about it, I'm like, I wouldn't call too many people for chicken noodle soup, but I have a lot of close friends, but it's funny. So yeah, whatever you guys got to do, just making that vow to yourself. And I think that if we can actually take off, I know this isn't super like applicable, but just a mindset thing. If we can actually take off the timeline of like, okay, I'll give it 5 months, or I'm going to give it a year, like, and actually just say, I'm committed and we're going to go about this as we need, whether it's a fast burn or a slow burn. You guys, I just shared this on my team Zoom last night. I was talking about how, and because Brittany Hitch was on and she was talking about like the daily focused tasks, little by little, chipping it away, doing the same things that seem mundane every day. And when you're in the thick of it, doing it, it doesn't always seem like it's inspiring or it's working. And I was telling her, I was like, this is so funny because right before that Zoom last night, I was on TikTok, and I am on fitness TikTok lately. Just, I'm so inspired by everything. I stumbled across this girl and she had this loose leaf spiral, and she had like created all these things, and it was for her weight loss progress. So the first page was like, wait until you see yourself a year from now. And then the second one was like a quote. And then she started tracking, like she'd have a box per pound and she'd color it in every single week. I don't know what day of the week it is, but every week she steps on the scale, records that weight, walks over to her notebook. She's literally on TikTok. I'll have to send you guys it because I watched her for like 30 minutes. I was so inspired, and it inspired me in my business. But then she flips through the pages. She crosses off what weight she's at, how many pounds she has to go. She checks her inches, all of the things. Well, I found her last night on month 6. So I'm seeing it all color coded, and she's lost however many, she's 25 weeks in, and she's super like losing weight, all of the things. And I saw that as like her end result almost. She's got 4 months to go to hit her goal or whatever. And I'm like, holy crap, that's so inspiring. And I was sharing last night, I'm like, I wonder if I would have still been inspired if I saw her day one. She has this empty notebook that's not color coded, and she has these big goals, and that's really cool, but she hasn't lost weight yet. She doesn't have any progress to share. And so I went all the way back, and I'm like, holy crap. And I went back to those first 3 check-ins. She was gaining weight every single time, and she still stayed the course. I have chills. And she's lost however much, and now every week she loses 1 to 3 pounds. It's just so cool. But I was thinking about it, I'm like, we can think about that with our business. Right now it might seem like, man, I'm signing 1 ambassador a month, or man, I'm talking to 5 people a day and it's equaling this much, and it might not seem like much. But if you really do show up every single day, take the timeline off, and just know this is what Kristen tells me to do, so I'm going to follow because I spent my own money to do it. I bet a year from now, you can look back. I literally just made a video on my TikTok because I was inspired by that girl of my last 2 months of workouts. And I'm like, dang, now that I look at it all compiled, I'm starting to look a little stronger and a little good. But in the thick of it, you just feel like, dang, this sucks. So anyways, I hope that worked out for you guys. But as a newbie, that's what I would say is make the goal, cut the timeline off, and then just show up every single day, but also gauge your results, like track them, write them down so that you can look, and it'll all be worth it. I promise. You just can't. I just feel like it's the timeline. I think it's the timeline thing. I think that's the issue. So hopefully that was helpful, Kristen.
I love it. Okay. That was so perfect. I'm sorry, you guys, that we went over because I should have just let her talk. It was perfectly timed, and then I chimed in, but we like working together, so we could be on here all night. So that was amazing. I took a ton of notes. I'm going to actually drop my notes into our welcome home chat, just so you guys can have those to refer back to, but we're going to save all these Tuesday lives. I think it's just good to have little tips and little refreshers. I'll change the title of this too, so we remember exactly what the topic was and what we discussed. And thank you so much, Rach, for being our first ever guest on a Tuesday. All right.